the winter anime season coming to a glorious end with many great series ending on high notes, and me being awfully late, I wanted to talk about Re:Zero and its spectacular finale. Re:Zero often took us to the highs and lows of Subaru, and season 2 was no different. So I wanted to talk about how Re:Zero dealt with his depression, along with comparing it with Bojack Horseman, another spectacular animated show that dealt with similar themes. Spoilers ahead for Re:Zero and Bojack Horseman. So, in Re:Zero, we have a boy named Subaru finding his way in a fantasy world with the ability to respawn. With Bojack Horseman, we have an alcoholic horse who was once a TV series in a 90s sitcom, is now living and reliving the past and trying to become famous once more. So both series handle depression in a very unique and fitting way for their respective series, but with characters that have quite different origins. So let me explain that. To begin, let's look at both their home line. Subaru's dad Kenichi was very popular in the community and always talented in everything he did. Subaru idolized him and really wanted to live up to his father's expectations. For a time he was able to, and everyone told him how he was expected since he's Kenichi's son, and he loved hearing it. However, as time went on, he slowly started realizing he was no longer the best, no longer being able to live up to his own expectations which he set for himself, and began going into a downward spiral. In the episode Parent and Child, Subaru goes into detail about his failure to succeed in school. In the real world, his condition may have been called severe anxiety. When his attempts at fitting in failed, he became a troublemaker and more reclusive. Over time, he stopped going to school altogether, and all because of his figure of ghost of his father in particular, which haunt him. Subaru even began to go so far as to tell his father that he wanted to call him a failure, but his father would never consider that since he never wanted Subaru to be just like him. Bojack, on the other hand, had a very different childhood. Bojack, on the other hand, had parents that he was never very sure of, as they tended to neglect him. His father was a failed novelist, and the mother was the heir to a large sugar company. However, whereas Subaru's parents actively loved him and supported him, Bojack's mother loathed his very existence and blamed him for all the negative things that were happening in her life. Once, when Bojack was young, his mother told him, "You ruined me, Bojack." To which Bojack just simply replied, "I know." His mother told him, "You better grow up to be something great, to make up for all the damages you've done to me." With Bojack simply being able to reply, "I will." While Bojack's parents were loathing him, Bojack, like Subaru, still yearned for their approval. For example, bringing his mother to filming of his show, only for her to ridicule him, or like in the episode Vtuber, where he admits it, that all he wanted to hear was his mother say, "I see you," only for her to never do so, even on her deathbed. Meanwhile, in Parent and Child and Subaru is leaving the department store, being transported to the fantasy world of Re:Zero. His mother tells him to take care, only for him to ignore her and continue on his depressed silence, because he too is feeling unable to live up to their expectation. While both of them have stark differences in parents, both did really want their parents to love them, and both felt they were failures for the opposite reason. This bundled up, eventually causing them to both grow up with self-destructive personalities. With Subaru, we see a self-destructive personality during the time when he grows up. No longer being the best at whatever he does, he places more and more importance on doing daring or outrageous things to maintain his pride and keeping himself at the center of attention, which causes less and less people to want to be near him. And he never outgrows this behavior. During the royal selection ceremony, he declares himself Emilio's self-appointed knight, bringing him the center of attention once more, at the cost of losing his friendship with Emilia. Even after, when Subaru doesn't get his way, and Reinhardt comes to check on him, Subaru goes and tells Reinhardt to screw off, and that this was none of his business. He continues to self-sabotage himself as a part of his behavior. With Bojack, we see his self-destructive personalities from the beginning. We see him addicted to multiple substances, try to sleep with his friend's daughter, try to strangle one of his co-stars, and even ruin most of his friendships. Bojack has everything anyone could dream of, yet he's wallowing alone, wondering why he isn't happy as he should be, and him procrastinating, sleeping, to make time go faster, being a clear sign of his depression, with life becoming meaningless between two events. Loneliness becomes the only companion he can bear, and strangers, as nice as they are to him, as welcoming as they are annoyance as they break the solitude. With both these characters, they were able to at some point move past their issues. Subaru was able to solve his issues by confronting them, instead of running away from them. Giving up like he was doing constantly, he found something. His reason to change and keep going is what kept him on the path he was going on. It was his love for Emilia, but it was Rem that pushed him to change. When he felt like giving up, unable to solve his problems, it was Rem that called him out on it and continued. Even till this point, multiple characters were calling Subaru out on this, from Wilhelm asking him why he fakes being tired, to even Beetlejuice asking him why he was pretending to be insane. Both of them showing Subaru trying to avoid this confrontation, trying to avoid him hitting the wall being his limitations. With Bojack, unlike Subaru, never is able to get over his depression. For Bojack, he kept thinking he was getting closer and closer to happiness, just within his hands, but never attainable. He even had his friends who called him out on it, specifically Told who told him, "You can't keep blaming your issues on your past. Everyone has a past." And Diane, who told him he's gonna win an Oscar one day. And afterwards, he's gonna be the loneliest person on earth and wanting to kill himself. And he continued, and he almost did kill himself. And this is where Subaru and Bojack differ. Where Subaru was able to face himself, Bojack truly never was. And this almost led to him dying. The idea that he's responsible for making himself happy horrifies Bojack, because he's incompetent at what he does. He knows it. He latches onto superficial things like drugs, booze, women, expecting them to make him happy. Like the book, he writes a book thinking that will make everyone care about him again. He thinks this will make him happy, which he's already wrong about, and he puts no real effort into it, getting a ghostwriter to do it instead of himself doing it, even though he had years to write it. He doesn't put any effort in making himself a better person or happy at all. If anything, the complete opposite. And even worse, it ends up being detriment to the people around him, because his insecurities end up causing the biggest issues in the show, both on a large scale and with his personal relationships. Bojack is someone who won't be happy unless he completely changes his outlook on everything, and stops using his depression as an excuse to be an asshole. Todd, his best friend, told him in season 3, it's him that's causing all these issues and suffering. And season 5, when he does strangle his coworker, does he finally realize that he really is the beginning of all his issues? Both these shows really present something unique in how they show depression, and representing two opposite ends of the spectrum, causing a similar depressed personality or depressed outlook. And I'm really happy to have seen both shows, and it really shows what animation can do. As a recommendation for anyone who wants to watch something that explores similar themes, I recommend Orange, the anime. It's very good, and it really gets into the same issues. This is Toshikon. If you enjoy this video, please like and subscribe, and I hope you stay for more. Thank you.